Hello, visibility hackers. Welcome to this week's episode of The Live Show. I'm your host, Coach Molle from Visibility Hacking Studios, and today we are talking about short form content. That's right. We're bringing in one of our favorite visibility hacking team members to talk about how you can utilize short form content to really start expanding your reach, getting your content, your message in front of more of your ideal customers. And then you can start the process of nurturing them into your world and ultimately converting them from casual viewers of your content into paying fans. And that is the ultimate goal for so many of us. So let's talk about content today. Let's have a chat. And why don't we just dive straight into it? Oh, this week on our visibility hacking update is quite topical, actually, because we're talking about short form content today. Our update is all about short form content because we have been doing a test. As you may already know, we've been working with Coach Lefty from the visibility hacking team to create these great reels. We've built out an even wider short form content strategy that uses short form content in a variety of different ways. So first, we have pieces that are specifically scripted to be short form content. We only shoot like 15, 20-second reels. We'll just call them reels for now. We shoot like 15, 20-second reels. We have like 30 or 40 of them done in a day, and then we're going to release those throughout the week. Those have properly edited in captions and some fun graphics and engagement flair. And then we also are chopping down pieces of our live shows and pieces of our daily videos into little reels that we can also use. And then later on, we're also going to be repurposing more from our live shows, more snippets from our long episodes into these micro pieces. And we're going to be posting all of them across two different platforms. One, we're going to be posting all of these shorts on our YouTube channel to see how it changes the algorithm and how it changes how many people are seeing our content. That's the baseline. If you remember, in the visibility hacking world, we have IPAC goals: perception, engagement, and conversion. So we're playing in the realm of perception in this test. So we're going to post on YouTube in our shorts page, but then we're also going to be posting all of these as well on Instagram as reels and attaching those to our Facebook account. So with these, we're not posting them at the exact same time on the exact same days. We are posting them staggered, but every piece of content will be posted on both the Instagram platform and the YouTube platform. So we've been doing this for 1 week. Here are my observations so far. Number one, it is quite, without giving you the numbers yet, we're going to wait till the end of the test. It's quite interesting to see how some pieces of content can really take off and get a ton of views, whereas others might fall flat. And I cannot figure out the pattern just yet, because on some pieces of content, they'll take off on YouTube, but they won't take off on Instagram, or vice versa. So I'm really, really happy that we're doing this test. We're going to do it at least for the month of August, potentially into September as well, depending on what we're seeing. But we will follow up with you with all of those results. The other thing that I've noticed is that it is exhausting to post that much short form content. So what I'm hoping that I can figure out by the end of this month is a better, more efficient way to store all of this content that I'll be posting throughout the week. What I did at first was I have folders on my phone for each of the different days of the week. So I'll just do the Monday through Friday, for example, and I'll put all of the different pieces of content we're going to post for each of those days into the folder, and then hope that it works out. But certain apps, you can't actually see those folders. It'll only give you the most recent. So it's a little bit more difficult than I think it needs to be, in my opinion. So that is, those are my observations. That's what I've been figuring out. So I will tell you more about what we have finally decided and what the end results of this test are later on this week. But before we get started on today's episode, we always start with a quote. So here's our quote of the day. I love talking about visibility, so we're going to talk about visibility today. Our quote of the day is more visibility is more power, but it's also more vulnerability. And it's true. The more content that you're posting out there, the more visible you're going to be, the more power that you're going to be able to use. But at the same time, it does require you to see things that might not fill your brain with dopamine. For what we've seen, for example, is we've been posting lots more content. We're getting a lot more engagement, but not all of that engagement is thumbs up. We love what you're doing. We've had people criticize my glasses for looking like they're upside down. We've had people take what I'm saying completely out of context and think that I'm virtue signaling and pushing towards other things, which is quite odd. But it happens. So you got to thicken up that skin. You got to find that place of visibility and power and lean into that. So my friends, with that in mind, let's get started with today's episode. You know me, I always like to leave my graphics up when they don't need to be up, but today we're going to talk about different kinds of content. If you've been in the visibility hacking world for a little bit, you have probably heard me talk about porches, parks, and parties, but I'm going to give you a little bit more meat on those bones today. We're going to talk about the different levels of intimacy with your customers as they go across their customer journey and the types of content we need to be serving them at each of those phases in their journey. So the first one, we're going to start at the top of the list here, and we're going to work our way into a more intimate space. So we're going to start out with what we call park content. So I want you to think about this. You're going out into the world, you're having a great day, it's a wonderful, wonderful weather out, and you go out to the park. Maybe you're wearing your favorite t-shirt that shares your brand or something like that. But when you're walking around the park, not everyone around you is going to become your best friend. Not everyone around you is interested in the content that you have to share. But this is your place to test things. This is your place to go up and introduce yourself to different people and see if maybe they have an interest in what you're doing. As you walk around that park, maybe you're really into playing ultimate frisbee and you turn the corner and there is a beautiful group of people playing ultimate frisbee. You have found your potential people. Say you're into geocaching and you find a little geocacher sneaking around trying to look for things under benches. You found your people. Look and create content that is think about your park as your testing ground. So you're going to create content that's designed to hook and grab people and say, hey, I'm into this. Are you? It's very broad. Not everyone who's going to see that content, the vast majority of people who are going to see that content aren't necessarily into what you're into. It's not necessarily going to resonate with them, but it's a place where you can start to become consistent. So the park exists across our social platforms. The park is anything that isn't our personal profile or our groups or things like that. So if you're engaging with content on other people's groups, for example, this is where you can start to get to know them. This is where you're engaging in the comment section of other people's posts and you're just getting to know these other people and letting them know what it is that you are an expert in. Not in a way that's slimy or designed specifically to get them to convert immediately. It's just letting people know that you exist. Because once they know you exist and they know that you talk about something that they are interested in, that's when we can move to the next level of intimacy, which is what I like to call our picnic content. This is where we're still in that park. We've turned that corner. We see the geocacher. We've turned the corner. We see the ultimate frisbee group. And this is where we invite those people to come hang out with us right here in the park. This is where maybe you're going to create a post in someone's group that talks about a specific topic. You've been walking around that park, you've been listening in that group, you see that people are interested in a topic that you have knowledge in. You've engaged in those comments. Now it's time to make your original post. This is where you then can start to curate the conversation a little bit more. But again, you're always coming from a place of serving value, serving information, and helping those people achieve results. Create a space that helps them do that. This is a more casual space. But we can always go one level deeper, because what happens once they've joined you in that park content and that picnic content, and they realize they want to get to know you a little bit more? That's when we invite them to our place. That's when we invite them over to come see our place, which is what we call our porch content. Now they're sitting outside of your house. This is your Facebook profile, for example. If we're using Facebook as an example, this is where you get to pick everything that shows up. People are coming over to your house, so you have full rights to talk about what it is that you do, to serve up your offers, to talk about the wins in your world. This is what we call our porch content. So think about it. They're over at your house, you've invited them over, you're collecting a group of people outside your place, and every day you get to share what the new win was in your world. You get to share testimonials. You get to talk about what solutions you help people achieve, because it's your space. Now, if they want to go even deeper at this point, they're checking out your Facebook profile. It's full of great wins of what you're doing. But what if they decided they want to know even more? They want to take action. They want to get involved. This is where we invite them to our party. And in some cases, your party could be your live show, where you have a space where people can come and hang out, where they can ask questions, they can get more intimate, they can get a little bit wild and fun, because everyone's on board to try and achieve those same results. It's a party of people who are all interested in that same result together. And we can get even more intimate than that. So our party content, I like to think of it as our live shows, as our Facebook groups, as places where we are intentionally curating a space for our people to be with each other. We take one step deeper, where they want to start working individually with you. Your live show and your party content serves up how it is that you help people achieve results. But now we go to that next level deeper, which is what we call our pantry content. Not talking about necessarily looking at your pantry in your kitchen or anything like that. Pantry content is when someone has invited you to work one-on-one with them, and now you're going to share that process with the world. This way, think of pantry as being super intimate. Like if you are on a weight loss journey, we talk about weight loss and fitness journeys a lot for some reason. If you're on a weight loss journey and you've now hired a professional to come check out your pantry, that's really friggin' vulnerable. That's stepping into a place where a lot of things could make us feel really, really vulnerable. But it's also a moment where we can achieve such great results. So when we're thinking about our content, we want to show those people what those intimate moments are like, so that they know they're not alone. This way, we build that know, like, and trust factor. This way, our potential customers know exactly what they're stepping into when they choose to work with us, because they know the process we take. They know the results we can get. And most importantly, they know the community of other badass people that we bring together. So those are the most intimate ways to create content, but we also want to create content that's fun. So the last level on our porch park list is what I like to call pirate content. So pirate content comes in a couple of different zones. We can talk more about this in depth in another episode if you would like. But pirate content is either when you're repurposing your own content, you're repurposing social proof from your customers or people within your movement, or you're repurposing someone else's content entirely and adding in your expertise as an extra level, a cherry on top, if you will. So you don't always need to create original content. You can find things to comment on that are also super impactful. So I hope that helped you guys, my friends. There are tons of different ways that you can create short form content, ways that you can create content that is designed to attract and nurture those relationships you have with your ideal customers and move them from a place of indecision to throwing their credit cards at you because they know that you are the ultimate solution for the problems that they are currently facing. Let's have a conversation with Lefty, Coach Lefty from the Visibility Hacking team to talk about his thoughts and his opinions on short form content. You today.
I am doing fantastic. How are you, Molly? And thank you for having me, of course.
Of course, of course, of course. So, those of you who are watching at home, whether you're live, you're on the replay, you're catching us audio only, you are probably familiar with the lovely sound of the voice of Lefteris because we've had you on quite a lot. You come hang out on the Friday Night Live show a lot, and you're one of our coaches in the Live Academy program, which is pretty fantastic. So,
Yeah.
before we get into anything, we're just going to get into things. Let's talk about
Okay.
short form content. Let's
Let's
talk
do it.
about Reels. Let's talk about YouTube Shorts. Let's talk about wherever else we can put our short form content. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Where else can we do it?
I think that, I think LinkedIn has stories now. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they
I
do.
mean,
Yeah.
short form is where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a blessing and a curse, in my opinion.
Okay, tell me why it's a curse first.
It's a curse because attention spans are diminishing. We're
Yeah.
going from like being able to concentrate on something for a few minutes to now only a few seconds. And
Yep.
it's
We
and
have goldfish
sometimes
brain now.
yeah, goldfish brain. Yeah, that's the best way to
Yeah.
say it.
7 seconds. That's it.
It's true. 7 seconds.
Oh. So it's hard to compete for that attention. It's hard to compete in a market that is saturated. Like there are so many, or close to saturated, or seems like it's saturated. But there are so many other people creating content, competing for your attention. So before you tell us how short form content can also be a blessing, how can we grab attention of these people in a saturated market with short attention spans?
Yeah, so the one thing that I pretty much, always say to myself and to my clients is that the only thing that Instagram is missing is you. So it doesn't really, I have, there's another thousand, probably 100,000 videographers and photographers and anybody in my creative space that are honest to God talking the exact same verbiage that I'm spitting out 3 times a week. The only thing that they have that I don't have, and vice versa, is me and them. So people follow you for you, not because of what you really say. Clients care about what you have to say, and as long as you have a pretty sweet personality to go with it, and you guys vibe well, you're pretty much gonna close that deal. But yeah, be authentic to you and your brand. Doesn't matter what the other person is saying, and just focus on what matters to you and getting your message out there.
Oh, I love it. That takes a lot of pressure off our shoulders. So we know short form content can be annoying, it can be difficult, it can be hard, but we now know that if we just be ourselves, we can stand out. Now, why is short form content amazing and why should we all be creating it regardless of what industry or niche or how big our following is, how big the following of our competitors are? Why should we all have short form content in our content strategy?
Well, right now it's one of the major, it's one of the major key things that all these platforms are pushing and promoting and advertising. Now, we will probably never know the reason why they're pushing this, but the fact is, it's right now taking about 70 or 80% of the market, and for Instagram Reels specifically, you're getting 66% more engagement just from Instagram Reels than other form of content that you're putting out there. On top of that, if you're somebody that is coming from, let's say, a YouTube channel, or you just put out longer videos on Facebook or Zoom calls and you're recording and whatnot, you can take all that content and just make it super small, where now you can, like, give yourself a whole month, if not even 2 months worth of content in literally just a few hours, which is super awesome. And I know it's taken the pressure off of me, because I used to run a YouTube channel and it was super hard to be like, oh, I got to edit this 10-minute video and I got to put it out there. Now I can literally take maybe 2 hours out of my day and literally film like 10 Instagram reels, take another 2 hours to film them. And, because I'm only posting 3 times a week, I really just have to focus on just editing those first 3 or 4. And then I can be like, I'll edit the other ones next week, and then still keep that process going where I'm continuously filming. But it really, it's everywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's going to continuously get bigger and badder. And it's one of those bandwagons that it is a bandwagon essentially, and jump on it as soon as you can, because we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. We don't know what these Instagram people and these Meta people and these LinkedIn TikToks, we don't know what they're going to bring us. We don't know what's in store for us. So jump on this while you can, especially for your business, because it is huge right now.
Yeah. So if people are sitting at home and they're like, okay, I need to figure out how to create reels, how to come up with ideas, because they're looking at TikTok and they're saying, like, I don't want to dance. I don't want to dance. That's not my brand. That doesn't match with me or my customers. How can they also use this kind of short form content without having to feel like they're dancing 12-year-olds?
Yeah. So if you don't want to channel the inner 12-year-old girl in you, what I would recommend is sticking more to tutorials. If you are, doing something that, let's say you're like a clothing company, you can, do tutorials on like how to stitch things, or how to sew things, or how you even like embroider or whatever, right? Or you just kind of go educational based, like teach somebody how to do something in like a short period of time. And I would always stick to educational, because as great as these like trending sounds and these trending things are working, and they're getting people like buttloads of views and plays and shares, it has a life expectancy, and it's typically like no longer than like a week. Sometimes you can post it up and it's dead within like 72 hours. Whereas education, I mean, we're still learning things from like the 1800s and early 1900s. So your educational reels, like, they're still going to be just as good 5, maybe even 10 years from now. How we do business has not really changed. The only thing that has changed is where we're doing business. But a lot of these millionaires, billionaires, I mean, maybe there's 1 or 2 trillionaires out there, but I mean, these people, they're still running the same game as they did in 92. They're just finding a different way to do it and where to put it, right? But the verbiage, the lingo, how they're interacting with their clients is all the same. So if these people are still doing it 30 years later, I mean, your educational content is still going to be like banging content even that far down the road. So I always advise people, do the tutorials, do the education, because that's one thing that's never going to go out of style.
Okay, so you work with the one and only Jay Lee, the sales ninja himself, and you were sharing with me a little while back about that goldfish brain, like coming back full circle from the beginning of what we were talking about, this goldfish brain of having no attention span. And so reels and short form content for me were they felt rushed, because I felt like I needed to put all of this value into 30
Yeah.
seconds. And that made me feel like I had to speak really, really fast, or I had to forget things, or I had to take certain things out, or I had to gloss over stuff. And it didn't really vibe with me as much. And then that anxiety just skyrocketed when you told me that people are now creating reels that are like 4, 5, 6 seconds long. And I thought you were absolutely ridiculous. Like, what is this? Just a quick prank? Like a quick visual kind of joke or whatever? Like, there's no way we can make meaningful content that's going to connect us to our audiences, that's going to drive sales, that's going to drive conversions in less than 5 seconds. But
Mhm.
you've proven me wrong. You have proven me wrong. So tell us about that, the shortest reel you've ever created, and how, like, literally, what did Jay say? How does it work? Tell me about it all.
Okay, yeah. So I was seeing these trends come up, and because, like, I scroll through reels all the time to see like what's out there, and like, just have some entertainment for myself. And I started noticing a pattern that a lot of the reels were like 4 to maybe 6, 7 seconds long. Nothing business related, but I was like, huh, I wonder if this can work in the business realm, right? Where someone like Jay can also create such short form content and still make a stink in the industry, right? Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you should only do this. Like, okay, maybe, I like to post in threes, because like that's how the Instagram grid is. So I mean, sure, you can have maybe 3 reels that are like 5 seconds, and then go back and have 3 or 6 of them that are like 15 to 30, and then have one that's like a minute or whatever, right? But with Jay's reels, like, I was sitting with him and I'm like, yo, what happens if we just got your message out in like 5 seconds? Like, how crazy would that be? And he's like, and Jay is such an awesome human being. Like, this guy, to him, he's about just making it like just trying things once. Essentially, he's like, yeah, whatever, I'll try it. If it makes sense, I'll do it, right? And I just love his like enthusiasm about just trying things. So we sat down for a couple minutes, and we figured out how can we just keep making it shorter and shorter and shorter. And what we ended up being left with was one quick problem, one quick solution, and a call to action. And that was it. And it kind of sounded like one of his reels, I think word for word, if I can remember it correctly, literally says, if you want to close more deals, you have to speak less, listen more, comment sales below. And it was
Beautiful.
just, the delivery was just super fast. But it's like, yeah, I mean, now reels are they're going up to 90 seconds, right? It's not open to the public, or at least to everybody yet. Like, it's they always beta test it with like bigger creators first before they start bringing it to other accounts. Um, but it's cool to know that we now do have, or will have, 90 seconds to kind of get our message across. But it's like a pizza, man. You can't make a pizza with just the bread. Like, you need ingredients. So you can't just make 5-second reels and expect it to work. Like, if pepperoni is the 5-second reels, you throw in some mozzarella, that's your 30 seconds. Add some mushrooms and bacon, those are your 45 seconds. You got to have a nice mix of everything, right?
We love pizza here, don't we?
Oh, a good Canadian from Pizza Hut, eh?
Oh, oh. We'll keep that loop open for another day.
Yeah.
All right, before we wrap up, I want to know your number one tip for people who are struggling to turn their regular long form content into something shorter. What's your number one tip for them?
Yeah, so let's use a YouTube for example, let's say you have like a 10-minute video, right? Out of those 10-minute videos, there's probably somewhere in the lines where you're either offering like, a solution to a problem, or you're giving like a quick tip and trick on that certain topic, or you might even just have said something that's like, super controversial that people are just gravitating to, right? So in those time frames, I mean, they're probably no longer than 30 to 45 seconds in length. So you can literally take those snippets and now create 3 to 4 videos out of them. If you're somebody that is creating weekly YouTube videos, it is super easy for you to have, 3 to 4 reels a week, like no problem, right? So, but they're also, for those who don't, let's say, have a YouTube channel or don't do long form content, because we can't, push those people to the side either. Honestly, just think about your business. Think about how you run your business. Always have a hook. Always have a solution to a problem. And then have your call to action. Where do you want to lead people? What do you want them to do? Do you want them to comment? Do you want them to follow? Do you want them to DM you? Now, the DM route doesn't really work very well because people don't always want to just like jump into your DMs, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. But find a few call to actions that you think will help you and get more business. But yeah, just have a hook, solution, problem, call to action, and yeah, you're on your way. You're on your way to doing great things.
Oh, I love it. Lefty, how can people get a hold of you? How can they get into your world?
Yeah, so you can always go on my website, www.createwithlefteris.com. I just started a brand new Instagram page, which was Create with Lefteris. Now it is Create with Lefty, since I thought of it because everybody's been calling me that now. So I figured it just works awesome. So yeah, Instagram, you can find me Create with Lefty. TikTok, you can find me as still Create with Lefteris. But yeah, that's where you can find me, or good old Facebook if you wanted to chat with me on Facebook.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back, my friends. Today we're talking about how to create kick-ass short form content, your reels, your TikToks, your YouTube shorts, your stories, all of that fun stuff in 3 simple steps with the master of short form content himself, Mr. Lefteris. So 3 simple steps. Step number 1, what should we do?
Have a good hook.
Step all right, what's 2, a hook? No, tell me what a hook is.
A hook is the quick 3-second intro to your video, pretty much explaining what the video is going to be about. So you can do this by just saying 3 reasons why X doesn't work. Okay, that's your hook. You know what we're going to be talking about now.
Grabs people's attention, and it tells you exactly what you're going to see. So if you don't want to hear this content, you know exactly, you can just swipe to the next one. If this is something that you're interested in listening to, you know exactly what's about to happen, which is exciting.
Yep.
So step number 2, we have a great hook. We've grabbed their attention. Now what do we serve them?
They're in, they're suckered in, they're ready to just indulge in everything that you're about to say in those 15 seconds. Now, your 3 reasons why that solution doesn't work, we need to tell them the problem and then follow it up with the solution. So that is going to be the body of your message. And it happens relatively quickly. It happens probably within 10 to 15 seconds max. And that immediately follows the hook. You don't want to have too much gaps, but the beauty about it is that you can always chop and edit and shorten your reels to make it sound like it's flowing in one shot.
So we're starting off by grabbing attention, telling them exactly what we're talking about. Then we get into the body of it, and now we're going to point out a problem that they're probably sitting with, they're probably facing, or they've probably said to themselves in their head. So then we make it feel like we're reading their minds by telling them that problem and serving them up a solution in 10 seconds. Then what do we do to finish this whole thing? What's step number 3?
Step number 3 is now we need to guide them in the right direction if they want to know more. So that is what we call a call to action, or if you've seen in short form, CTA. These CTAs or call to actions can happen in multiple ways. One of them being follow for more tips if you literally just want them to follow you. The second one can be comment the certain word below in order for you to be in touch with them. The third one can be, DM the same keyword if you want them to do all the work and have them DM you. And there's probably like a slew of more call to actions that I don't even personally either know of or don't even use. Typically for me, it's follow for more or comment below the specific keyword that I chose. That keyword is 9 times out of 10 in my hook.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking about 3 reasons why your lighting situation is not working for you, then my call to action is literally going to be comment lighting below if you want to fix this problem, and I'll get in touch with you.
And then from that phone call or from that message, what do you do?
Yeah. So now the comment comes in, somebody types in lighting, and I then turn around and I ask them very politely if I can DM them. I will most likely just say, hey, thanks for commenting. Is it okay if I send you a DM? They typically reply with yes. And I go in to further message them and say, hey, once again, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my reel. I see that you want to, get to know more about lighting. What are you currently stuck with your lighting solutions or your lighting setup in general? I allow them to speak. I allow them to kind of just tell me what it is that they're having issues with. And then I go in and do my
Offer
best
your
to give them
solutions.
whatever solution I have for them. Yeah.
So even though short form content may feel like it goes by in the blink of an eye, it takes forever to put together, it doesn't, but it feels like that sometimes. We still can drive connection with our people. All we have to do is remember that there's a bridge we have to create for them to walk over. That's where we want to have a call to action that's driving our people to a moment of connection. Whether we get on a call with them, which takes a little bit of time and work and effort and trust to get them on the phone. Them on the phone, but we can definitely get into their DMs, of course, with their permission. And that shows again that we're real people. We're not just sending them to an automated bot. We really genuinely care about helping them solve those problems. And it also know, like, and trust factor booster instantly. So heck yeah, 3 simple steps. Go start creating your short form content.
And it's literally the
Yay!
best paid. It's literally the best form of advertisement that literally works like paid ads without having to pay.
My friends, my visibility hackers, today's hot tip, or this week's hot tip, is to create more short form content. Why? Because it is going to be seen by more people. If we think about YouTube, for example, we're always looking at watch time, and that watch time is something that we're trying to push so that people are watching longer and longer. Short form content doesn't ask us to do that in the first place. It serves up just a whole bunch of hooks. If people are interested and they want to hear more, they will watch more content on your platform, which also feeds up more of your videos to people who are more like them, ultimately expanding your reach. So that's what I want you to do. And my second bonus tip for you guys is to think about how you're repurposing your pre-existing long form content. If you have a podcast, how are you turning that podcast into micro content, into short form content, into your reels, your TikToks, and your shorts? How are you taking your live show and slicing and splicing that up into short form content? How are you making that available to your audience? You're going to see what we've already started noticing is that we have one audience that watches our long form content and a completely different audience that watches our short form content. And those who are interested in both sides come together and become our paying customers, which is beautiful. So my friends, that is my tip for you today. Go think about how you're repurposing that content. Go start being vulnerable. Go make more content and get your name and your visibility out there. Oh, visibility hackers, what a fantastic show today. I know I like to talk about long form content, but it's fun to get to talk about short form content and to test it out and to see what happens. So we learned a lot today. Lefty gave us a ton of great information, and I want you to take our how-to steps to heart. I want you to go out there and create better content. Think about your hooks. Test out different hooks. Think about your long form content and how you're slicing that up and creating micro content for it. How are you creating the path, brick by brick, the golden path, the yellow brick road, if you will, to reaching the decision to purchase your products? All of those steps, every single one of those bricks is laid by a piece of content that you're putting out there. So if you're not putting out content and you're just hoping that people will turn around and know what it is that you do, you're crossing your fingers and hoping it happens, well, good luck. Have fun with that. Let me know how it works out. And for those of you who are laying that foundation, who are creating that road, who are answering those questions, who are creating content that leads your viewer from the space of being a casual viewer to the place of being a paying fan, you are going to see much more success. So my friends, thank you so much for joining me today for this week's episode. I will see you again for our next one. Join us for Friday Night Live. We'll see you there. Till then, remember I love you. Be excellent to each other and just go live. Your people are out there waiting for you.